Hey, sports fans, PBZ Sports Chaos. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so it's Thanksgiving weekend, football weekend. I got a college game on right now. We're looking at Colorado blowing out Oklahoma State. Last week, PB, we're going to make some picks here in our foreplay. Last week, we didn't do so well, 1-3 each one of us. But G Money came in 4-0, you just said, right?
Yeah, against the
All
spread,
right.
pretty impressive.
But last week was, I mean, think about this. So you had Indiana losing. They're no longer undefeated. They lost to Ohio State. Punt team gave up 2 scores in that game. But this is where it gets crazy. Florida, 13.5-point underdog last week. They beat number 9, Ole Miss. Billy Napier probably saved his job because they had another upset the week before. Auburn beats Texas A&M. Texas A&M now needs to win against Texas tomorrow to be in the SEC playoff. We'll see how that goes. You've got Dion lost to Kansas. The one game I did pick last week, that upset. But the
Yeah.
big one, I think the story of the week has to be Oklahoma. My boys, the Sooners, absolutely obliterated that, Alabama 24-3. That's the first time Alabama's been in single digits in points since 2004, I believe is what I heard on that. Can you believe that?
Wow. Was that their third loss?
Yes. Yes. So now they're not going to be in the SEC playoff. Probably a good thing because they lost that. They had 4, right? So now they're barely hanging on. They're outside of the top 12. So right now, at the moment, they're not even in the playoff mix in the poll.
Wow.
So yeah, but I think it's gonna be another crazy weekend again. We'll pick a few games in a moment here. But I got one question for you. We're going to talk about this when we get to NFL as well. The Heisman Trophy. Everybody keeps talking about Travis Hunter, the kid from Colorado. I want to see a running back, and the running back should be this kid. His name is I'm gonna
Gianti.
yeah,
Gianti.
Ashton Genty. The kid's got almost 1,700 yards already. He's over 20 touchdowns, like 1,800 yards, I believe it is. He's clearly the best player in the country, in my opinion. Heisman Trophy needs to come back to the running back. This is the year it should happen, I believe, because there's really not a quarterback out there that's setting the world on fire. Dylan Gabriel's doing okay, undefeated Oregon, but no one else. Jalen Milroe's kind of cooled off. He had 3 picks last week in that game against Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
I'd love
Yeah.
to see it. I don't know. What do you
You
think?
gotta, yeah, and you gotta look at the kid's game log. I mean, he gets the ball 25, 30 times a game. He rushes for 250. Yeah, he's got like 4 games this year where he's rushed over 200 yards. Like and then you look at the competition and you might say, oh, well, but you're still an athlete. You still, to be able to do that, you
Yes,
still have to be athletic. And one of those 200-yard rushing games was against Oregon.
that's right.
So
Yeah, that's right. They're playing right now too, 24/7. They're up against Oregon State. They didn't show his stats though, so I don't know what his stats are. But all right, let's make some picks. What's going to be surprising, fans? This is rivalry weekend. The one rivalry game we're not going to pick because it's not even going to be close. I don't think that's the one that's being played up there in the north, right? Michigan against Ohio State. I believe this year Ohio State's the host, but that game's like a 20-point spread. I don't even think it'll be that close. That's why we're not even going to pick that game, right? You agree?
yeah, I do agree.
All right, but the game that's going to matter most, Texas, as they just said, has to beat Texas A&M or vice versa. A&M has to beat Texas. One of them has to win to go to the SEC playoff game against Georgia. Texas a 5.5-point favorite in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I know it's a tough one to call, especially with A&M losing last week, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
Auburn,
figure,
right?
yeah, you figure they gotta bounce back, but I don't know. Texas to me I had Texas up there at the beginning of the year. I'm not gonna give up on them at this point. 5.5 is kind of a lot of points. I could see A&M maybe covering that, but I'm gonna go with Texas.
I'm riding Texas too. I think they're easily a touchdown favorite in this game, in my opinion. I think they win by a touchdown. So five and a
Yeah.
half, no problem. What's your money got?
G Money has A&M.
Uh-oh. He's on a roll. All right. A rivalry game we are going to pick, though, even though it's a kind of a big spread, but they just came off a big win, as we just mentioned. Auburn beat the aforementioned A&M. Bama come off that big loss last week to Oklahoma. We just talked about that. They're an 11.5-point favorite in this rivalry game where, as we know, things always get kind of crazy in this game. Alabama's hosting. What do you think?
I think 11.5 is a lot of points to give in this game, is what I initially thought. But I've been riding these, 10 to 13 point favorite games. I've been riding the favorite all year long, and it's done well for me. I did it last week against with Ohio State. You took Indiana, I took Ohio State, and Ohio State easily covered.
Right.
I think just Bama's the more talented team. It's at home. I think it has all the potent makings for a pretty big win. So I'm going to go with Bama in this one.
I am too, especially after that loss last week. Bama is going to be on fire for this game. I know it's a rivalry game. We just talked about it. I know Auburn's a little bit hard after beating A&M last week, but I just don't see Alabama. They're going to put
So
the foot to the pedal here.
here's the question: If Bama blows out Auburn in this game, like wins like 45-10 or something, does that give them still a shot at maybe getting into the playoffs, even with the three
Wow,
losses?
funny you should say that because another game could have a bearing on that. It would be South Carolina, ranked number 15 of the country, playing their rivalry, in-state rival Clemson, number 12 in the country. Clemson's a 3-point favorite. If Clemson loses this game, I think they're out of the playoffs. I think that's Alabama. There's one of their loopholes to get in. So this is a big game. I don't think Clemson loses, though. 3 points, I'm taking Clemson in this one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go South Carolina in this one. G Money has South Carolina as well.
Ooh, okay. All right. All right, another rivalry game. This one's lost a little luster in the last few years, but it can be a good one. It can be a big one. Notre Dame goes out to the West Coast to play the Trojans of USC. Notre Dame's a 7.5-point favorite. What do you think in this one?
I think it's a big number on the road against a team like USC. I think they can stay within a touchdown. I'm going to go USC.
Ooh, okay. What's G Money got?
G Money has Notre Dame.
I got Notre Dame as well. I'm going Notre Dame, 7.5 points.
All
Ooh,
right.
I wish it was 6.5. I wish it was 6.5. But I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with it. So let's go 7.5. Notre
All right.
Dame. All right, NFL. So yesterday had one of the ugliest games ever at the end, right? Chicago Bears losing that game to Detroit, right?
Oh
I
my
mean,
God. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
how does that guy keep his job?
I don't
That
think
was
he
all the
does.
talk today.
Eberflus is going to lose his job. I mean,
Yeah.
that team is too much talented, too much expectations, and the way they're losing games. I think right now they have more points than their opponents on the season, and they're what are they? 4-9, four and
Uh,
eight,
4-8.
something like 4-8. But yet they have more points than so basically what that says is when they win games, they're winning them pretty big, and then they're losing all these close games. And we know what happened with the whole Hail Mary with Washington earlier, block field goal
Yep.
against
Yep.
Green Bay, Minnesota. They lost. I mean, there's so many close games, and then this just falls into that same category. So I don't think he deserves to keep his job.
No. I mean, he should go now. He should be gone. He shouldn't have been back on the plane coming back home from that game. So, but yeah, just horrible. Just horrible. By the way, Cowboys have now won 2 in a row. Uh, Speaking of Cowboys, so I know we talked about potentially the landing spot for Bill Belichick. I think Chicago's a landing spot for Bill Belichick, a team ready to win with a potentially a star quarterback for a long, long time. Chicago would be a perfect place for Belichick. Do you think?
That would, I mean, yeah. I think either one of those. I think anywhere that's got like good, young, talented core players, it would be good for Belichick. And he could give him a couple of years and he'll have that team competing, I think.
My buddy Steve Agori, lifelong Giant fan, says Giants are going to hire Belichick. There's no way in hell he goes to Giants. That team is not going to be relevant till the 30s. Why would he go there? He's 72 years old.
Right. But there's another potential firing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dayball. You think
Yeah.
Dayball's got out the door. Eberflus has got to be out the door. McCarthy's probably going to be out the door. There's going to be a lot of vacancies come January, if not
Yep.
sooner.
I totally agree. Totally agree. All right, let's pick. Hey, by the way, you said you now have a new favorite for the toilet bowl. That is.
Um, I
The
do.
Patriots. You said the Patriots are now your toilet bowl favorite after you saw them in person.
Oh yeah. Against Miami, yeah, they looked pathetic. Like they definitely go back into that bottom four after that performance last week. We can see if they can maybe try to recover from that this week, but I'd have to put them back in my bottom four. And of course, since then, I had Dallas in my bottom four, and they've won 2 games in a row since then with Cooper Rush. So I have to put Dallas out of that and put the Patriots in. That's kind of where I stand right now with that.
By the way, the Giants have cemented themselves. They're in there for good. There's no way they're coming out of the toilet bowl. All right, let's make some picks. Are you ready? Let's start with Steelers, Bengals. This game is going to be a tough. We got a couple tough games this week, obviously. Steelers, Bengals is going to be a tough game. Could be a shootout. If it's a shootout, it favors the Bengals. If Steelers keep it low scoring, it's the Steelers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, what this division has done this year is shown me that it's tough to go on the road and play. I feel like the home team ends up winning all the time. And even with Cleveland beating Pittsburgh last Thursday night, that
Yeah.
was surprising, And Cleveland's not even one of the teams that's really part of the normal discussion. But yeah, I like Cincy in this game. I do.
Ooh. I want to say Cincy. I just don't trust their defense, and I think the Steelers take advantage of their poor defense. Steelers by a point.
All right. Me and G both have Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. Chargers have to come east. The 1 o'clock game to play Atlanta. Atlanta now winning the snow. Are they winning the South? Did they move ahead of Tampa Bay?
I think they currently are at 6-5. Yeah.
Okay. So you got Chargers in Atlanta. What do you see in that game?
Atlanta's not showing me the same kind of oomph that they had earlier in the year. And the Chargers are a good football team. I mean, I know that they lost to Baltimore last week, but
Right.
Baltimore's a respectable team to lose to. So not surprised. Yeah. And that they could have had that game. I mean, they got out to a nice lead, but then they kind of got a little lackluster in the second half. I'm going with the Charge. I know it's tough to come across the country. I know Atlanta needs the game. I know it's in the dome, all those things you got going for you, but I just like the Chargers to kind of wear down the Falcons. I know Dobbins is also out in this game, so that's something else to consider.
That's going to hurt, yes.
Gus Edwards is going to lead the charge there. I'm sure you'll see a little bit of Vidal for change of pace at running back, and we know how much Harbaugh likes to run the football. So I think they can wear Atlanta down that way. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I am as well. And by the way, Justin Herbert is quietly having a very good season. He doesn't have to throw the ball a lot, but when he does, he's very efficient, and he's still got a cannon. I love the way he's playing. You're right. Harbaugh has really made a difference with that team. I got the Chargers as well.
G Money does too.
Okay. All right. This game's going to be a surprising one. I know the Cards lost last week to Seattle. They're now no longer in first place in the West I guess by schedule. Cards go to the Vikings. What do you think about this game?
I like the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings only lost 2 games, albeit they were 2 in a row, right? They started 5-0 and lost 2, went to 5-2, and now they're sitting at 9-2, right? Or 8-2, whatever they are. Yeah, and I mean the Cardinals laid an egg against Seattle. Not only did they lose, they put up like 6 points or something like that. So, and that was a game on the road at Seattle. Now they got to go on the road at Minnesota, a place that can be just as loud inside. I just don't think it's Arizona's game. I like the Vikings a lot in this one.
I got Vikings as well, yeah. And G Money says?
G Money has the Cards.
Whoa. Well, he's having a good college year, not so good in the pros this year.
No, he's not. Nope.
All right. Here is a big game. Philadelphia goes to Baltimore. To me, I don't really see the home field being an advantage because they're practically neighbors, right? So they play in the same environment, the same weather. I don't see that. I bet there'll be a lot of Philly fans in the crowd at Baltimore. Who do you like in this game?
That's a tough one. I struggled with Baltimore. I feel like every time I pick against them, they lose, and when they win, and when I pick for them, they lose. So I'm not the best person at picking these games. I'm going to go with just current talent and playmakers. I think Philly has more of those than Baltimore does. I think Lamar's done a great job this year making some guys look pretty good, like Zay Flowers as an example, Bateman. But you compare them to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and then by the way, they have Saquon Barkley too, right? Who I'm not taking anything away from Derrick Henry, but Saquon is Saquon this year.
By the way, we mentioned in college a running back should win the Heisman Trophy. MVP in the NFL should be a running back, and it should be Saquon Barkley at this point in time, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Philly's defense is probably head and shoulders better than Baltimore's defense, especially their pass defense, right?
Yeah, Baltimore cannot stop the pass at all, right?
And Philly drafted two corners in the first round last year. Remember Cooper DeJean and can't think of the other kid's name. So I just think Philly has more talent. And like you said, there's not really that much of a home field advantage in this one when you think about like outdoor versus indoor weather, all those other factors, geographical proximity. So I'm going Philly.
I am as well. I got Philly too.
G Money does too.
All right, this game at the beginning of the year looked like it was going to be a big, big game as well, but due to injuries, not so much anymore. San Fran has to come east, where I hear there's going to be a snowstorm in Buffalo on Sunday. Their quarterback, Brock Purdy, has not been able to throw the ball in practice all week. They got injuries that Nick Bosa's not playing. One of the wide receivers is out, right? So Buffalo all the way. Buffalo rolls.
Yeah, we all have Buffalo on this one across the board. Yeah, San Francisco's been a complete disappointment. Even if they were like 9-3 or 8-3 away before whatever right now, I'd still be picking Buffalo in this game because of all those things you just mentioned.
Yeah. All right. This game is going to be a sneaky one. Cleveland plays Denver at Denver. Denver's had a great season coming out of nowhere. Bo Nix is right there for Rookie of the Year potentially as well. Cleveland, just when we want to say they're horrible, they go and do stuff like beat Pittsburgh and they beat Baltimore as well, didn't they, earlier in the season?
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, so Cleveland, I don't know what to say. I'm going Denver because it's a home game in Denver, but like we just said, when you think Cleveland is dead, they come and knock you off. So I don't know. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. And this reminds me too of that clash back in the day. Remember what was it? Probably was it late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s when Cleveland and Denver used to play in like the AFC Championship game?
In the playoffs, yeah. The drive.
Yeah.
Remember all the way in the drive, right? So
yeah. Yeah. Was that Bernie Kosar days, I think?
Before even Bernie Kosar.
Oh, Vinny Testaverde days, right?
Yeah, he was there too, right?
Yeah. Vinny Testaverde, yeah. Yeah. They were fun. That was a fun little rivalry to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna go Denver. I mean, it's hard for me to not take Denver at home. So
me as well. What's G Money got?
G Money has Denver too. So we're the same on a lot of picks. We're all in on Philly. We're all in on Buffalo. We're all in on Denver. So those last three games, we all have the same.
And by the way, this might be one of the best weekends of the NFL. When you look, the games we just picked are all going to be tough games, right? They could go either way. There's not any one of these games that I think is a slam dunk from one team or the other. So probably the best weekend we've had so far. Do you think?
Yeah, there's some intriguing games always on the docket. It's the NFL.
Sure. Yeah. All right, man. Well, enjoy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.